Hello and welcome to the McTaggart Attack podcast. I'm Kevin McTaggart, and this is episode 126. It is WTF, GoT. For those of you with non-sensitive ears, it is What the Fuck Game of Thrones. That's right, it's the fourth in a 6-part series of me giving my thoughts on the final 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. If you'd like to contact me, you can email me at mctaggartattack@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find the McTaggart Attack podcast Facebook page. You can find me on Twitter at KevMcT. I do a wide variety of episodes each week. And, like I do, for right now I'm doing WTF, GOT. On Wednesdays I do What's Pissing You Off Wednesday. I debuted a thing called Top 10 Thursday last week. It might be a one-off thing. I won't do it every Thursday yet. And I also have a Trivial Nonsense Friday where I rant about various topics that some people would call trivial nonsense, but those people are idiots, so what the fuck do they know? Then sometimes I just have regular episodes with actual other titles. Like last week I did What I Hated About Avengers Endgame. I did another one about potholes in the Upper Valley. Whatever the fuck I want, basically. But this episode in particular that you're listening to right now, that you've downloaded, thank you so much for downloading. I appreciate it. Tell your friends. This episode, as I said, is my thoughts on the last 6 episodes of Game of Thrones in season 8, I believe it is. I just give my thoughts on what happened in the episode that happened the other day. And, or last night, as it were. And last night's episode was episode 4 of this season. We're past the midway point. The week before we had that big old Battle of Winterfell, which was riveting, and I was nervous the whole fucking time. I was nervous for the week leading up to Battle of Winterfell. I was afraid of who was going to die. It's scary as hell. And it's just a TV show, but it had me riveted. So there. So yeah, it was insane. Let's see. The title of last night's episode was The Last of the Starks. So I'll put that in the title of this. And it was interesting. Let's see, how did it... Well, it started with, the funeral, which was pretty sad. Nothing really what the fuck Game of Thronesy came out there. Because that's why I call it... Why I call it What the Fuck Game of Thrones, or WTF GOT, is because that's what I usually blurt out a few times during the seasons, is What the Fuck Game of Thrones. And I did that last week. I forget why I did it. I can't remember now. But there was certainly a few What the Fuck Game of Thrones moments in this episode. Oh my god. That poor dragon. Rhaegon? The one named after Daenerys' brother. Got killed by Euron Greyjoy's boats. They have those arrow thingies on them. Those big, huge dragon killing spears. Thank God Drogon got out of the way. that was nerve-wracking. I wasn't expecting that, but I guess I should have expected that because Cersei is a bitch. Oh my god. They killed the dragon, and then they took Missandei. Is that her name? I think that's her name. They took her hostage. Then Daenerys has the army there. And Tyrion's trying to talk sense into Cersei. How the hell can Cersei even hear him? He's an imp. He's a dwarf. He's sitting from down. You know, how could... She must have really good hearing to be able to hear him. But how the fuck can they hear him? That kind of threw me off. But she did. And then she tells Missandei, if you have any last words, you better say them now. Which was perfect Cersei. Because she's cold-hearted. She's cold-hearted. She has no fucks left to give. She has nothing left to live for except her unborn child. Which Euron Greyjoy seems to think is his, but it's not his. It's Jaime's. But yeah, and then the mountain chopped Missandei's head off. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And then Grey Worm, he looks pretty angry. I think that's his name, Grey Worm. The lover of Missandei, and I hope I'm pronouncing these names correctly. I'm not researching this shit. I don't think I should have to. Because it's my podcast. I can mispronounce the names. Like I call Tormund Giantsbane the Wyndham Wizard, because I think that's the appropriate name to call him. So yeah, very good episode last night. I think some people didn't like it. I'm not sure why. Maybe because there wasn't enough action in it for them. But then last week there was action, but it was too dark. They were fighting at night. What the hell do you expect? They were fighting at fucking night. Get over your fucking selves. But this week the big controversy was the Starbucks cup. There was a Starbucks cup. You know, the Mother of Dragons had a Starbucks cup. You know. Then, I'm not exactly sure if it was a Starbucks cup. I have to think that like maybe people froze it and made it look like a Starbucks cup. I don't know. But it probably was. Because I go to Starbucks, but I don't really see many cups look like that. Which is weird. I thought it was weird first. I thought that was like a weird cup or something. And then I saw it again. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was a candle. Maybe that's what they try to do. How did you fuck that up, Game of Thrones? Seriously, how do you do that? You spend 2 years making these episodes, and you do that? You leave a Starbucks cup there in plain sight for everyone to see? Maybe you do that to see, maybe they did it to make sure people are paying attention to the show. So we all fell for it. There it was. We're all just stupid and think that, oh, hey, there's a Starbucks cup there. Oh, you watched the show. Good job. It's sort of like if I talk shit about someone on my podcast and they respond to me outside of the podcast and my first response is, oh, thank you very much for listening to my podcast. I appreciate that. Because isn't that the way you're supposed to fucking respond? What other issues did I have with the episode last night? Like, after the funeral, there's a big celebration, a wake of sorts, or just a celebration. I loved how Daenerys tried to do a toast for Arya, and they did, and it got a great reaction. But Arya wasn't there to accept the toast. And then Daenerys gave Gendry a name, Gendry Baratheon, and gave him some place, Stormwind or something like that. I'm assuming that's the Baratheon home or something like that. So he'll be a lord. And then he goes to go find Arya, gives her a proposal, and she turns him down. You knew she was going to turn him down. Arya is not a lady. Arya is many things, but a lady is not one of them. She's not going to live her life, the rest of her life, as a princess. She's not the princess type. She never was, and she never will be. She's a killer. And she has unfinished business. What is that unfinished business that she told the Hound? She told the Hound they both have unfinished business. I hate being in the business of guessing, but I'm guessing that the Hound wants to kill the Mountain and that Arya wants to kill Cersei. That's what I think it is. People are trying to put too much into that, and I'm just like, nope. Arya is clearly going to try to kill Cersei, and I hope she's successful. She should be. I mean, she's the baddest motherfucker on the show. Arya is. So, she has to do it. People might get mad if she does it, but I don't fucking give a shit, because she killed the Night King, and will she kill Cersei? Who knows? Will somebody kill Cersei? I don't fucking know. We'll see. What else happened? Jamie got it on with Brienne. They made love. They slept together. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I never really saw them as like a sexual relationship. I saw it more of a, friendly relationship. But I guess it had to happen. I guess they had to do it. And then when Jamie heard that Cersei killed one of the dragons, he went to King's Landing. He left her, and Brienne was all upset. Jamie's the first person to beat Brienne. And he did it the only way that he could do it, by breaking her heart. Poor Brienne of Tarth. At least she's a knight now. But I was talking to a coworker about this today, and I really don't think that Jamie's going to defend Cersei. He didn't say that he loved Cersei. All he said was that he has done a lot of bad things for Cersei. And maybe he's tired of doing bad things for her. Maybe he needs to go there and take care of it once and for all. If anyone's going to take care of Cersei, it's going to be him. Or is it? I don't really know what's going to fucking happen. I almost read this article that had spoilers for the last 2 episodes. I only read one of them, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's not a big one, fortunately. It's one that I actually thought. Well, maybe I'll tell you. Well, no, I won't tell you. But yeah, it's just crazy. Because I don't want to read any spoilers. I don't want to be spoiled by any spoilers, so to speak. Let's see what else happened. Yeah, when they were doing the dinner, I had a bad feeling about it. The celebration after the funeral made me think of the Red Wedding. Like, they are celebrating way too much. They are having way too much fun there. Bad shit's gonna go down. And I was right, because one of the dragons got killed later. I was also nervous throughout the show, because I thought either Jaime or Tyrion were gonna get killed last night by Bronn with the crossbow. But of course he showed up and gave them an offer. So depending on who survives, on who wins, Daenerys or Cersei, if Daenerys wins, then, Bronn will get Highgarden, and if Cersei wins, Bronn will get money and whatever fucking castle he was promised by Cersei. That's a good idea on his part, to make deals with both sides. He's not stupid. I thought Jaime was gonna die when he was in bed with Brienne. I don't know. I just pictured him dying on a toilet like Tywin did, because they were using the crossbow that Tyrion used to kill his father. I thought the same fucking thing was going to happen. And then John told his sisters who he really was. And I found that interesting that, like, they cut away. They just said, Bran, you tell him. And then, like, they don't show, like, Bran telling them. They don't show their reactions. It just makes me think that we're going to see that at some point. We're going to see that conversation within the next 2 episodes, I think. Just like I think we're going to see the conversation that Bran had with Tyrion. You know? When Tyrion wanted to hear Bran's long story. You know? And he did. And I just have to think that there's going to be some sort of flashback to these conversations. In probably the final episode. Because, like, stuff has to get answered here. And I don't know. I just have so many questions. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. There's, like, I was talking to my dad earlier, and there's 4 or 5 different ways that they could go with who could end up on the Iron Throne, or how it could end, or who could be in charge at the end of the series. It could be Jon Snow, it could be Daenerys, it could be Cersei still, it could be Tyrion. Tyrion, I think, might be one of the Targaryens. I think the Mad King raped his mother, and he's actually one of the 3. He's a Targaryen, I think. Mostly because of a few seasons ago when he had to get the dragons out of that temple, or that little dark dungeon area. You know, they didn't kill him. And they didn't kill Jon Snow either. So it's interesting. And are those the last of the dragons? Is there really just one dragon left? I'm not sure. So many questions. I also think that if Daenerys ends up in charge, she's going to be the Mad Queen, like her father was the Mad King. I think that might be how it ends. I feel like she's been wanting to be good for most of the series. But now that things aren't going her way, because things had always been going her way, but now that things aren't going her way and she's losing loved ones around her, shit might be hitting the fan with her. She looked like she was about to snap at the end of this last episode. So I'm just curious to see what happens with all of this. I think I will be happy no matter what happens. That's my stance on it right now. No matter who's in charge, I think it'll be a satisfying ending one way or another. But we can't talk about the ending yet because we still have 2 episodes to go. Have I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about today? I liked the conversation that went on between Sansa and the Hound at the party. The Hound talking about how he should have taken her with him when he left King's Landing. But then she mentioned that she wouldn't be the woman that she is today if she had left with him. That's 2 times now, the last 2 episodes, where they talked about something like that. Characters had a conversation like that. Like, Theon and Bran had a conversation like that. Where, like, Theon apologized to Bran, but Bran was like, everything you did brought you here. Everything that Sansa did brought her there, made her what she is today. And that's a good message for anybody who questions, who's in doubt about what choices to make in life. Like, whatever you do, you'll end up where you're supposed to be. You know? Can't go back. There's no time traveling. There's no lazy-ass plotline time traveling like there was in Avengers Endgame. How fucking stupid was that? But this is not the episode about Avengers Endgame. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on Avengers Endgame, go ahead and listen to that podcast, 125, episode 125, where I discuss that very topic. So anything else that's on my mind about this episode? Nope. I don't think so. Can't think of anything else. I think I covered all the stuff I wanted to cover. Alright, well that's been this week's the WTF GoT for season 4, for episode 4 of season 8. The Last of the Starks, I believe it was called. So, thank you for listening to the McTaggart Attack podcast. You can find me on Twitter at KevMcT. You can email me at McTaggartAttack@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find the McTaggart Attack podcast Facebook page. More importantly, find the podcast. It's in most places where you can download podcasts. So just go ahead and download it and review it. Tell your friends if you like it. Tell your enemies if you hate it. If you want to torture them with my mindless, stupid rambling of thoughts and whatnot, go ahead. Just whatever. Just download the fucking podcast is what I'm fucking asking. And that's the bottom line if you smell what the McTaggart Attack podcast is cooking. What the fuck, Game of Thrones?